As a business owner, if you do not have a level of a culture of accountability throughout your business, it's going to be impossible for you to take a vacation. It's going to be impossible for that business not to be dependent on you. And if one day you want to sell that company, or one day you want to transition it to your family and or your friends or whatever that might be, because there's going to be a transition at some point in time, you want to transfer a healthy business. And a healthy business is a accountable business, and you have to make sure that that culture is being cultivated each and every day. This is The Leader You're Becoming, a show where we talk about leadership, stewardship, and building the type of business people actually want to work for. I'm Coach T. Let's get into it. Welcome back. I am your host, Coach T. Welcome in. If this is your first time, welcome in. If this is your next time, welcome back. We are going to be having a fantastic conversation today. We're going to get you a vacation. We're going to get you a vacation today. So if you clicked on this video today, we are about to have a good conversation around why you can't take a vacation from your business. Right now, you can be the owner, you can be one of the leaders, you could be one of the team leads. Why you can't take a vacation? And you know what I'm talking about. You know, if you leave, your phone gonna be blowing up, or you're gonna have to go on a vacation and they're gonna call you back. You're gonna have to leave your vacation early because the business is chaotic without you. It is so dependent on you that you can't even take a vacation. But we're gonna talk about one of the most important factors to ensure you can take a vacation today. All right. Now, if this is your first time, the way we do this here on this show is we have real conversations, right? We have a real conversation about real problems happening in the business with the humans, particularly in the business. Sometimes we get into a little financial things, yeah, but this is the Leader You're Becoming show. This is the evolution, if you will, of who you are and how you're constantly evolving each and every day. And today, we want to get you a vacation. We want you to be able to go away, sit on a beautiful beach. It's beautiful out. It's beautiful out today, like 80 degrees, beautiful water, relaxation, maybe a drink, maybe not a drink, or whatever of your choice. And you can just go and enjoy it. And you know that the business is running well, and it might even be doing better without you in the building. Yes, that is possible. And so with that being said, how do we get this vacation that we're talking about? This utopia, Coach T, that you are referring to? It's one word, and it's a buzzword, and it is one of the most talked about words in all of business. And most people say they want it. Most people say they can't figure it out, but we have a framework today that has been successful for me, that I've been learning over 20 years. 20 years. We're about to talk about it here in a few minutes. And that word is accountability. Accountability. Accountability is one of those words, when you hear it, we often, default to, this is disciplinary action. I got to have the confrontation. I got to have, the tough conversation. It's always looked at often. Well, I won't say always and often. That's two different things. It is often looked at as something negative. But I would surmise to you today that accountability is actually leadership. It is leadership. Right? Like, it is true leadership. Without it, and it's not always negative. Let's just start there also. It's not negative. People want to be held accountable at the end of the day. Now, I know, social media is going to blow up when they see this clip and this video, and they're, oh my God, no, people don't want to be held accountable. That I would argue, people don't like to be held accountable, but people actually do want to be held accountable. That's two different things, right? I may not like something, but I want the benefits of it more in the long run. I might not want to express that today to you, right? Because I'm in my feelings about something that you brought to my attention, or you were aware of, and then now you have to have a conversation about it. But at the end of the day, people ultimately do want to get better. They want to see their lives improve in some form or fashion, and thus they need to have a level of accountability. And so today we're going to just talk, briefly about a framework that I like to use I don't have a special name for it, so it is what it is, right? Framework that I like to use to actually help me in holding my team accountable, or having creating a level and a culture of accountability. That'd be a better way of saying it. A culture of accountability, because accountability is just not the leader, making sure all these things are done. No, it has to be a culture of it. And it starts, number one, here we go. Number one, it starts with personal accountability. Personal accountability, right? I know, that's not often where people go and start. But I have found, and this is just my, 20 years of experience here, 2 decades, it actually starts with self. If I am in my role and I'm asking somebody to go be great and produce exceptional outcomes in their role, then I must be doing so also in mine. Or at least if I'm not producing the extraordinary outcomes in my role, the approach that I take about getting to the place where I can produce exceptional outcomes must be present and seen by my team, right? I think about Tyrese Maxey, right? And I'm using him because it's easy to use like Kobe Bryant and stuff like that. But I'm going to use Tyrese Maxey because I went to a Philadelphia 76ers game years ago, actually when he was a rookie, if I'm not mistaken. And I remember he wasn't playing much. I don't think he played at all that game. But I remember going to the game, and I remember getting there early and kind of just watching the players work out. And he was one of the few players, I think at one point in time, he might have been the only player on the court. And he was working extremely hard. I'm talking like full throttle, like practice level. I know it's kind of funny, practice, Allen Iverson, Philadelphia. It's a funny note. It was in my head, so I have to get it out. But I told you we keep it real in this, this show. So, but he was going crazy working out. And I remember looking at him and I said, if that is how he is working out every single day, he's going to be an all-star. He's going to be one of the best in the league. And then this year, I would actually argue maybe even last year, was his coming out party, right? Like this year, I believe he made an all-star game. And I'm not surprised. And I still tell people that story. I'm like, I remember watching Tyrese Maxey, and he didn't even play that game. And I remember saying, he's going to be good because there's no way you put in that many reps and that much preparation at that intensity. And he wasn't like making every shot or anything like that. It wasn't like I was watching him do all like the Steph Curry routine where I'm just in amazement. I was amazed at his workout and his effort that he put in. And I said, if those things keep stacking up, barring any injury or some type of significant life event that can really take his mind and attention away from basketball, he is going to be incredible. And I'm not surprised. And it's the same thing with us as leaders. We may not always be great in our role to start, and that's okay. That's fine. Sometimes we're new. He was a rookie or very early in his career. There were people that were better than him, right? That produced different results and better outcomes. But the preparation has to be there. People got to be able to see that, maybe that is staying late. Maybe that might be coming in early. Who knows what that might be? It might be a level of vulnerability to say, I don't know, but I'm going to figure this out. And they keep seeing you do that over and over and over again. That is the level of preparation that I believe is actually even more important than the outcome when it comes down to a level of personal accountability as it relates to creating a culture of accountability in the building. And now, especially with owners, right? Owners, like you own the business and they got to see it. They got to see, if it's like you're just sitting in the ivory tower in the big, beautiful corner office and and just telling people what to do from afar, sending emails, keyboard warriors, and they're not seeing the work. It's going to be very difficult to create a level of accountability that you're expecting because you haven't set the tone. So that's number one. That is the framework starts with self. And again, I believe that as leaders, it starts with us. It starts with us from the very, very beginning. So that's number one. Number two is getting clear on expectations. I don't know how many times I got to say this, and I'm going to probably weave this in everywhere. There was a Gallup piece that said, and they surveyed employees, and only 46% of employees actually said that they were 100% clear on their expectations of their role, the outcomes that they were to produce in their role. 46%. Think about that for a second. Less than half the people say they're 100% clear. And so it is extremely, almost impossible for us as leaders to truly hold someone accountable if they are not clear on the outcomes that you are expecting them to deliver. And I'm saying this with so much passion and so much conviction because I sucked at being clear on expectations for a number of years in my career, right? A number of years in my career. I can see it and I know how I want to feel, but just being able to get it out of my head so that it is clear to another human is often a struggle because my brain, it can move a mile a minute. And most owners will, they'll joke about they have ADHD, right? And they could be ping, 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 all over the place, right? It could be all over the place. Some leaders, some of the greatest leaders, their mind is just working. It's going through a million thoughts at a time. I don't know if that's possible, but it just feels like that. And I could see a problem. I could see the solution. I could see how it works. I can put you in place. I trust you, right? As a leader, I trust you to kind of fill that gap. And then I'm off to the next thing. Like I give you enough of the stuff and then I'm off. And I come back and I'm like, where is the outcome? And sometimes I had really good people that were like, I got it. Don't worry about it. And then other times I had people that were like stuck. And then now I'm like, oh man, they can't do it. If it got to be me to take care of this, et cetera, where it's like, no, I could have just been more clear on exactly the outcome. What does right look like at the end of the day, right? What is the absolute 100% outcome I want from this situation? What is the behavior? Sometimes the outcome is just our culture, right? Like our culture, meaning like how we behave on a day-to-day basis. Like that literally could be the outcome that I'm looking for. And I have to demonstrate that. I have to show that, like, hey, when people walk away and even if it's an intense conversation, people should walk away feeling respected. Now, if they don't feel respected, now let's come back and understand the why. But your goal and your intention should be, hey, when people walk away, even if we have a difference of opinion, people should walk away at least feeling seen, heard, and respected, even if they're disagreed upon. All right. So getting very clear, I'm talking about crystal clear on expectations. If you don't have it, it doesn't matter. And, we say this all the time in this show, clarity equals trust. When people have 100% clarity on exactly the outcomes that you're looking for as a employee from a leader, they now can trust that, okay, the behaviors that I'm doing, how I'm acting, the things that I'm doing actually are going to produce the outcome. Thus, I feel safe. And I don't even know why I went there, but I'm going to go there for a second. All right. Feeling safe. I forget what book I got it from, but it talked about asking your team, like, do they feel safe? Taking moments and breaks where you just say, are you feel safe? Do you feel safe? You have to ask people, do they feel safe? And one of the biggest things that I found by asking this question is this. Oftentimes, people will reveal the things at that moment in time that they're unsafe about. And it actually gives a moment, an opportunity, what I found, of getting clearer. They don't feel safe because they don't understand something. They don't feel safe because they don't really see something. And it's causing them to feel unsafe in that moment in time within their role. And so it's a very powerful question that you can ask. You don't have to ask at every meeting. Sometimes you may do, but you can just make sure you get it out several times a year. If not, again, you can do it weekly. I like to do the weekly meetings every 2 weeks or once a month of, do you feel safe right now? And it allows for them to process, and oftentimes what they're unsafe about is just what they're unclear about. And so this is one of my little pro tips to getting some clarity where there may not be clarity in a situation by going through a different avenue to get to that level of where they're unclear. Number 3, next up is facing issues head on quickly. Now, this is the part where most people are like, this is accountability, right? I see something, I say something, I go attack it. Yes, amen. I agree with that. But how we go attack that quickly, right? You don't have to see oftentimes, and I'm going to just call myself out on this one, oftentimes, like in my experience, my leadership experience, especially very early on, I would see something and I'd be like, let it go, let it go. Then now I'm frustrated, and then I go say something. So now when I said something, it's on the heel of like all this frustration along with it. Now the other person is hearing it for the first time maybe, and they're like, whoa, bro, why you coming at me like that, right? It's because I didn't say anything quick enough, right? I let all this energy compound, and then I wanted to say something. You got to say it quickly. If you personal accountability, right? You set the standard and the tone for how you behave and how you attack your work each and every day. You got really clear on expectations, right? They understand the outcomes operationally and culturally, and they can say it to you in their sleep. And if you woke them up out their sleep, right? And then now they're behaving in a way or doing things in a way that is inappropriate, or it's not the way of the process, the way that you want it to go. Well, now you got to see it. You say something quickly. Now, one of the pro tip that I found very valuable in when I do bring things up is I attack with a level of curiosity, right? I often may say something like, hey, can you walk me through what led you to make this decision, or help me understand, or like I'm genuinely curious. I'm trying to understand, why you made this decision. I'm trying to understand why you said this thing. Help me understand what was going on in that moment. What, here goes a good one, right? I learned this, I forget the guy's name, but he's like a psychologist. It was like, what do you want me to hear, or what do you want me to see that I'm not seeing or I'm not hearing right now? And so that was like in relationship, he framed it, and I use it here when it comes down to being curious. I may say something like, hey, what am I seeing? What didn't I see, or what am I not seeing that you saw in this situation that led you to do X, right? Because then what happens is they say, oh, I did this because X, Y, Z. And now the reason why this is so important, it's irrelevant if their reason is the right reason or wrong reason, or produce the outcome or not in this moment, right? You got to take a step back. Accountability is teaching too. This is a moment where you get to see or hear their thought process, because if they believe they were doing the right things for enough of the right reasons, and your standard, for an example, is it must be exactly how you said it to be done, you are going to consistently bump heads. Why? Because they're like, I produced the outcome, or what I believe the outcome to be, or the interpretation of it. Again, getting clear on expectations, right? But let's say in this example, the outcome was produced, but they did it like within the scope and resources that they thought best. But your standard is it must exactly be followed this way. And this happens, right? Maybe when you were talking about getting clear, you were showing what the outcome was, but you didn't really actually say that it must exactly be done this way. And there may be roles where it's not exactly done one way, but if it is on your side, when somebody does something that is outside of that process, instead of just being like, you did this wrong, I mean, that's easy. Okay, yeah, that's like level 1, right? That's like baby leader. Oh, yeah, you didn't do this right. Okay, yeah, okay, I didn't. But like, if you really take the time and be curious about it, like, hey, like, what am I seeing here that, led you to, behave this way? Or what am I missing here that caused you to go this way? Or, tell me about your process. Tell me about how you came to this outcome or this conclusion. You will get such a good response back. You will get, and if you listen, it's a good response if you listen, because you can get the data, information, right? The data comes back. You can then start to navigate and see where their challenges maybe were, right? Maybe some context you didn't even know that caused them to behave in this way, or say this thing, or operate this way, or make that decision. Start with curiosity. That is like fundamental. Yes, you face it head on. Yes, you face it quickly, but you also face it with curiosity. It gets you so much further, right? And then the last one is you got to close the loop, right? You got to close the loop, right? You have to close the loop. Now, what do I mean by close the loop? Closing the loop is you have an issue, you bring it to their attention, y'all resolve it, and then it seems to be done. But whenever there's an issue that has been brought up You're still dealing with a human. This isn't a machine. This isn't chat. This isn't, Gemini or Claude, anything like that. There's feelings involved. And so whether you think there's no feelings or not, because y'all resolved it and they seemed happy, if you do not go back and deal with the human and close that loop, you can leave yourself open to a world of hurt. I have, in my mind, I have done this. I have made this mistake so many times where I set a standard, get clear on expectations. They don't do the things that I ask them to do. I go back, I say something, we resolve it, we walk away, everybody's clear, understood, we laugh, we joke, maybe we dapped it up, we're cool, and then I come back weeks later and they feeling some kind of way. Now, and I'm like, well, now it's very easy to say, well, that's their feelings. Unsolicited advice. It's still a human. Honor their feelings. Honor that moment. Go back, close the loop. Hey, I know we're past this. I know we concluded here. Are you okay? Are you okay? And then some people are going to be like, yeah, what are we talking about? Cool. I'm just checking in on the human. Just checking in on Mike the human, not Mike the sales analyst. Mike the sales analyst, we figured that out. Mike the human, I just called you out on something. I just held you accountable. I just wrote you up for something. Like, I'm just making sure you, the human, you're okay. Now, that doesn't change your decision. That's not, you being soft or anything of that nature. It's showing that there is a human impact to being held accountable. There is, no matter what. We all feel some kind of way to some degree. Some of us just sit in it longer. But if you become the type of leader that just checks in, that's just like, hey, you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm actually good. I'm like me, I'm good. The human is good. Some people may walk right past, but that thing will sit in their subconscious and they'll remember like, man, like they checked in on me. They made sure I was good. I'm not just a number. All right, let's close the loop. And then at that point in time, obviously, that's my framework, right? But then there gets to be a point in time where it escalates and you do actually have to escalate it to documentation. If you document something, or first off, you should always document. Document it just not for the sake of like some HR thing, but you document it because you want to make sure, again, clear. You're clear. Hey, this is what I understood. This is what you understood, what you agreed upon. When you send it out, is there anything that I'm missing? That was one of like a pro tip for you. When you send something out in writing, you can literally make sure you say to that employee, is there anything that I'm missing here that you want to add? Most of the time, 95% of the time, nobody says anything in my experience. But it just gives the space again as like, hey, it's not just me commanding you and demanding you and overseeing you, being an overseer. I'm still dealing with the human side. We're dealing with this operational thing that involves humans and emotions. All right. And then, so as my reflective questions from today, as I always do, right? We talked about that framework one more time. It's, personal accountability, right? Are you setting the stage and the tone? Are you clear on your expectations? Do people 100% know and understand the outcomes in which they are hired to produce a result for their job, right? If you see an issue, are you dealing with it upfront, quickly, and with curiosity? And then number 4, do you close the loop on the human that had the impact of that tension, right? And so my reflective questions for you today is 2. Number 1, where in your leadership are you expecting accountability before you've created clarity? Where are you in your leadership where you are expecting accountability, but before you've created clarity? That's number 1. Number 2, and which of the 4 steps do you need to strengthen the most? Is it personal accountability, setting the standard, getting clear on expectations? That's probably the one most people struggle with. And facing issues head on, or closing the loop? Which one? You tell me. So thank you so much. I truly appreciate you for being along this journey. This show is, again, it's a, I don't want to say, it's my work, right? It's my work. It's my divine work. I was looking for the right word. My heavenly work is the word I like to use. It's my heavenly work. And so I'm just a believer that humans are not going to be taken over by robots, even though I love my robots. And the human experience in the workplace, all of our gifts coming together to build something for other people to benefit from because we solve problems is so critical. And leadership is such an important component of that. And what we're talking about today, accountability, is critical, right? And as a business owner, if you do not have a level of a culture of accountability throughout your business, it's going to be impossible for you to take a vacation. It's going to be impossible for that business not to be dependent on you. And if one day you want to sell that company, or one day you want to transition it to your family and or your friends or whatever that might be, because there's going to be a transition at some point in time, you want to transfer a healthy business. And a healthy business is a accountable business, and you have to make sure that that culture is being cultivated each and every day. That's what I got for you today. And if you need help, you need support, right here goes my email address. Here goes my website. You can come in there. There's free resources there that you can go in and check out. There's a leadership load index where you can see where people are struggling at within the business. There's Exit Copilot AI, or if you're thinking about like, how dependent is my business on me? There's an assessment right there you can go check out for yourself. And so you can go in, it gives you a full report, and it actually gives you things that you can do immediately. And yes, accountability is there. Right, is there. I even got my own chatbot. Chatbot's there too, right? If you want to talk to me and you're like, hey, he might not be available at 3 a.m, there's a chatbot right there. So check it out. All right. So God bless. Until next time. Peace.